Hello everyone, so today we are going to do Leetcode daily challenge swapping nodes in a linked list. So in this question, we would be required as we are required to swap the nodes, right? And these nodes are something like, okay, let me walk you through the question. First thing is that we are given with the head of the linked list, right? And an integer k. And here, which two numbers we are required to swap is the one which is from the starting at kth position and from the ending at the kth position. So basically in this one, we are simply required to swap 2 and 4 because 2 and 4 are the numbers, because this is at the second position from the starting and this is at the second position from the end. So both of them we are required to swap. So we simply swap them and return that as the answer. So this is what we are required to do in this particular question. And with the constraint our 10 is for 5. So yeah, it's simply like that. We could use order of n, and even in this linked list question, when there is swapping and we are required to find out the nodes from starting and ending, we would be able to devise a solution in order of n only. So here, uh, now let me walk you through the algorithm. So the first thing what we are required is, means how the algorithm would work is that we are given with a k, right? So we'll simply decrement that k until that point that it becomes 0. And when it becomes 0, then we will simply assign that particular position to P1. P1 would be a node 1 which is required to be swapped, right? And P1 was earlier null, and now we are required to get a second node, right? Until then our head has reached this particular point. So now we'll again start with our head node, and then that head node what we would be doing is simply incremented towards the next position, right? And we are having our P2 also with us, and this P2 would be simply assigned to that particular node which is just last kth, right? And how this could be possible is when head simply starts from this position, right? So it will go till the end. Until it reaches the end, our P2 would be simply able to reach this position, because the fact is, like here it was k and here again it is k, right? So here the thing would be n minus k only in this particular, means when it is starting from the head and it goes till this position, it is n minus k until when this particular, which is again n minus k, means this would be a traversal of the head which comes out at this particular point, and this would be the traversal of P node, basically P2, which was starting from head, the initial head. So it is again n minus k only, right? So when it reaches at this particular position, our head would have reached n minus k nodes and it would have reached at head equals to null. So that's why we are easily able to find out the P2 as the second position here. And then when we are able to find out our P1 and P2, so after finding out both of them, we are simply required to swap both of them. So this is what is required here, means after getting these. And yeah, one thing is there that now we are required to return the final linked list after swapping them, right? So keeping that thing in mind, we can simply take a result variable at the starting only where head was not traversed, and at that particular position result would have been assigned to that particular address, that is starting of our head node, right? And when we will simply return this, it will be able to return our new linked list. So this is what we would be doing in a question. So here I have written the algorithm that how this thing would be working. So we are maintaining simply 3 pointers, P1, P2 and result for first node, for second node, and for the final linked list. We are simply starting our P1, means we are simply assigned the P1 as null, P2 as head pointer, and result as the head pointer. Why we have taken this result as head so that we could at the end return our final linked list, T2 we have taken as head so that we could easily traverse n minus k nodes. So this is the reason we are doing this. Now the third thing which we would be doing is we'll simply update our head equals to head next. This will play two roles for us. One thing is that it will help us with finding out the P1, and the second thing, it will help us to find out P2. So for time being, when we decrement this k and until it is greater than 0, so till then we will be able to find out P1, and as we exit this particular while loop, so we would be easily able to assign P1 equals to head. That is how we have reached that particular node where our k node is there from the starting. Now our head is at kth position, right? So now it is required to traverse n minus k distance, right? So we'll again run a loop where head is not equals to null until this particular condition, and then we'll update our P2 and update our head. So until head reaches null, our P2 would be at that particular position where it is required to be, means basically at n minus k position. And I have already explained how it will happen. Then after that, we would be able to get our P1 and P2, so we are simply required to swap both of them, and then swapping is simply as it is that we are taking a temporary variable where we would be storing our P2 value, and then P2 value would be assigned with P1's value, and P1's value would be assigned with same, and thus we are swapped. And at the end, we are required to return the result. So it would be the final linked list which is being required to be returned. So this was all for this particular question, and now next part is about that code, that how we would be coding it. So I have coded it in C++. In Java it would be similar, only that we need to remove the stars and this arrow with dot. That would be for Java. So here same thing, initialize with null, hit and hit means all these pointers, and then run the first loop, and then run the second loop, and then swapping, and then returning the result. So this was all we are required to do in this question. And the time complexity is simply order of n, and space complexity is order of 1 because we are not using any extra space, and order of n because we are simply traversing the linked list in a single go. So this was all for this particular question. If you have any doubt, any queries, you could simply comment down. So yeah, thank you.